You're watching the Paper Tams Vlogtober series. Follow me every day during the month of October, and I'll show you how I use creativity to live life well. Hey guys, welcome to my Florida garden here in Central Florida, Zone 10A. I know that a lot of you follow me for my planning and creativity and those types of content videos, but throughout this Vlogtober series, I am going to be giving you a peek inside of my garden because October is a wonderful month for me. October is when I start to fall back in love with Florida because the weather becomes amazing. And you can pretty much grow anything in Florida for most of the year. Now, why do I share this on a channel that's mostly about writing and planning and journaling and creating crafts? It's because my garden is a place where I implement those types of skills the most. I implement my planning and creativity the most here in my garden. And I just wanted to share with you that please don't limit your planning abilities and creativity to just one thing. Branch out and see where else you can implement those skills. Now here's why planning comes into play. Gardening in Florida is not like any kind of gardening I ever did growing up in Virginia, North Carolina areas. There is no like just limited garden season. You don't really have the same seasons. So you've kind of got to think about what you want to do all year, or at least I do, to be able to have a garden, because a garden can be expensive and I have a budget and I want it to look as nice as I can and I want to get the most for my money that I invest here in the garden. So here we are at the beginning of October, and I'm going to give you a little peek into a project I'm working on. Mostly what I'm doing first week in October is I'm starting to assess everything. No big landscape projects will be done. If anything like that is going to be done, it's going to be in the spring. But I'm going to be looking at the things I planted in pots about a year ago, and I'm going to be looking for ways to use those things and salvage those things and get them out of the pots so I can clean the pots and get them ready for some new plantings. Believe it or not, I plant a lot of my pots in November, right? So take a look at what I'm working on today. I'm doing a little bit in my front yard to get ready for some fall decor and put a little color in. All right, we're going to be working on this front door area. I'm going to put up a fall wreath, and then you can see I've got two pots here, and then I've got an empty one on this side and another empty one over here. I am going to go through this pot, and you can see the bleeding heart, or the purple heart, is just completely overgrown. I'm going to deal with that, and then I'm also going to take out these asparagus ferns or foxtail ferns and place them in the ground. And I do have some geraniums that still have blooms, so I'm going to try to salvage those. Each one has a geranium, and I think they'll be fine to just give them some space. And I'm going to put some other things in here to make it a little more fall, and then I'm going to copy that in the empty pots, I believe. Now I'm trying to use what I have in the garden. So I've got some things, I've got some more geraniums in the back that I can transplant, and then I went to Lowe's and picked up some things from the clearance rack. So let me show you what I've got. All right, these four mums and the yellow were on the clearance rack. The yellow plant, I believe I can split into 4 pieces, and I'm gonna try to do that. And then I'm also going to incorporate a little bit of Halloween. I'll show you what that's going to look like. But basically, these plants were marked down to hardly, I think I spent less than $20 on these 5 plants. So I like to check out the clearance whenever I can. So let's get to work and see what we can do. Okay, in addition to the plants I got on clearance. Let me show you a tip. This is one of my Bon Vivant on a budget tips. So last fall and this past spring, I planted smaller things in my clay pots all back here on this patio, and then they proceeded to fill up and create little spots of color that I could move around in the garden. Now that they're bigger, I can take these and either put them in the ground this fall or put them in a bigger pot. So I am shopping my pots this morning for those bigger pots, and that saves me a lot of money. Okay, here's how far we got. I set a timer for an hour. So all this took about an hour, and this was my exercise for this morning. So in the two side pots, I have planted a geranium that I shopped from my pots, and mum, and I split that yellow flower into 4 pieces, and I planted them in these plastic pumpkins. And on Halloween, I'll turn these around so that the jack-o'-lanterns show. So that's in those 2 pots. The pots on the doors, what I did was thin out all those purple hearts, and I transplanted those over in here. There's one there, and there's one back in the back. You can't see, sorry for the glare, because I love those as a ground cover. And guys, when I planted those in those pots, they were just clippings. That's how nice and big they get. So there we are. I also hung the wreath up here, and I planted, let's take a look at these front ones here. Everything's still wet, so you have to overlook that, but I have planted, ooh, there's a lizard. The same thing that's in the other ones. I left in some of the purple heart, and then I had a pot in the back that I split. Now that one's, we got to see how that one goes. It's probably in shock, but I will come back out this afternoon and I will water them one more time. So that's what we got done today. I will be gradually adding in, so for Halloween, I do a lot of blow-ups that are shaped like pumpkins, and I turn all of this into a pumpkin patch. So I've got to leave room for those and some other things that will gradually go in. But for today, I really just wanted to get something in these pots and see if they could get established over the next couple of weeks. So more to come. So there you are. I hope you enjoyed this little peek into a typical project that I work on during the month of October. I hope you can see that I'm being very thoughtful about all the plants that I potted last year. I don't just throw them away. I try to find more homes for them, and I will be sharing with you what I do in the backyard as well in a later video, because I still have, even though I use some of the plants to fill in those bigger pots outside, I still have more, and I am starting to think of what I want to do with some beds in the backyard. I also hope that you were able to see how I save money by shopping for the seasonal type plants like the mums in the clearance section of Lowe's. I could not believe how many nice mums were in the clearance section of Lowe's when I went the other day. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you see why I am incorporating more lifestyle into a lot of my content, because to me, it's just an extension of creativity, and that's the whole point of why I make videos. I want to show you how you can use your talents and your creativity to live your life well. See you in the next video.